Hi everyone, it's Snow Daze again, and as promised, I have a theory for you today. I'm filming this right after I filmed my first thoughts on the trailer, giving my predictions and stuff, and I told you in that video that I was going to hold off talking about this lovely lady here because I have so many ideas and I didn't want to make that video any longer than it already was. And it turned out to be 20 minutes, so sorry about that. So, I am super excited about the inclusion of this character in particular, because there's a lot of things I'm seeing that are blowing my mind. And the thing is, RWBY told us about them existing 2 years ago. And I'm just now making the connection. So, if you remember, they had World of Remnants a while ago, back at Volume 4, they had one on the Kingdoms, right? Well, they had one on Atlas. So, let's take a moment now and just watch this together, okay? Because it's all going to connect before I even say anything. Ready?
I suppose it's time we talked about the fine people at the top of the world.
I agree.
Atlas is Remnant's youngest and arguably most successful kingdom, but it's a bit of a special case. See, before the Great War, there was no Atlas.
No, there was Mantle.
At some point in time, a group of settlers were crazy enough to venture out into the northernmost continent.
Very crazy to go up north, right?
Frozen hunk of rock doesn't seem like such a bad place to call home. As a matter of fact, the harsh weather conditions proved to be just as useful as the mountain ranges when it came to keeping the creatures grim at bay. But it also kept the people of the Mantle from flourishing.
So find a solution.
It's got a neat trick up its sleeve, though.
Going down,
faced with a problem,
you notice?
our inclination
and they find dust,
the cold climate
specifically red dust, burn dust, known as the fire heat dust.
They developed a more advanced technology, and they did it faster than the rest of the world.
And using that technology, things grew and it became Atlas. So, what I wanted you to notice, though, was that long before anyone was there was a civilization. People went there to escape the Grimm, and they inhabited the place first. Now, because it was so cold, you can't live on the surface. So you notice that if we go back a few frames, they dug down. Digging down is naturally what people do in cold areas. Even if you think on Earth, the inside the Earth is warm, a lot warmer than on the surface. So it made sense that they are going to dig down to escape the cold, the snow, the wind. It's just overall a better idea to go underground. And plus, it was just a bonus that they found dust, and specifically the red dust, which we all know now is heat dust, right?
Inclination is to...
Yep, heat dust. And it makes sense that if this dust here is a saving grace, the people are going to stay and build around it, which you can kind of see tunnels around them. So the original people who inhabited Mantle went underground to survive. They went below the surface and very much used the earth as protection and their survival in a very almost respectful way. So if you haven't caught on to what I'm suggesting yet, it's that the people that we are going to meet that look like this old woman back over here in the trailer, in a sense, are going to be the indigenous people of the region. So I am super excited for this because we've spent a lot of time talking about the faunus, which we know has been a commentary on the civil rights and race discussions between American and even all around the world. It's really a global issue. But no one has really spent the time to talk about many of the issues that indigenous people face in their own lands when, like, Europeans came to America. a lot of Native Americans were not treated so kindly. Like, there's a whole section in your history books called the Trail of Tears, where settlers literally kicked Native American people off of their land so they can claim it as their own. It's really a dick move. So, what I'm seeing here is one of the indigenous people of Solatas. Solatas? I found out what that meant. That was the name of the continent. So, the things that point to this being my theory here is that you have an old woman. She has a little bit of a deeper tone to her, which you see in people of Native American descent or people, indigenous people of the areas. You also notice that this woman in particular is wearing beads. It was very popular, especially in America, to have turquoise beads, which are very beautiful, very handcrafted as a part of their culture. Not to mention over here, the staff is the same way, kind of like a shaman staff. I'm not going to pretend I know very much about the Native American cultures, but it is very much associated with the culture in general to have a staff that looks like this. And same with the hairstyle. Braiding was very common hairstyle for indigenous people. So it is seeming like this woman is very highly influenced by that culture. The one thing that really solidifies this for me is the goggles. I saw this first, I'm like, what the heck is with the goggles, right? Clearly they're highly advanced, but why would you need goggles like that? Everyone's fine. But if you grew up underground where there's not a lot of light but the dim glow of dust, your eyesight is going to be very poorly developed. So when you go to the surface, you're going to need some help. So consider this glasses in a sense that help people who lived underground their entire life adapt to the surface environment, and so they can actually see. So, those of you who do not believe me yet that this woman is a part of the indigenous people who first inhabited the continent before the whole dust technology boom, I have one more detail that's going to really solidify this for you. So this woman is going to be bringing them to her home. And I'm guessing, since it was hinted to us that the new town that they're going to be focused in is Argus. Argus means guardian, protector, all-seeing eyes. They're going to be under the ground, and they are going to be in the middle of a few different things. Underground, we know of dust mines, which could lead Blake into another character arc of the Faunus who work in the mines. And we also have a kind of secret tunnel system that can get them inside the closed walls of Atlas. Not to mention, when you're underground and you are away from surface Grim, you might come across maybe a different type of Grim, like Grim number 2. You know where I'm going with this, right? Like a bat Grim that lives in caves, like the ones underneath Atlas that the indigenous people live in. I am so excited for this, guys. You have no idea. So this brings out a whole new world. We're getting away from the Faunus rites and into more of the ethics between indigenous people and settlers. Because indigenous people discovered dust. Indigenous people in America knew how to work the land. They knew the crops. They knew how to work from scratch that the settlers didn't. They took what they knew and taught others, which could be applied to dust. The indigenous people taught people who were around Mantle how to use the dust to survive because they were underground. They knew how to use it, but the people who stayed on the surface did not. They taught them how to use dust. And of course they flourished, just like the settlers in America flourished, and in their own expansion and greed, they pushed the native people down in order for them to stand up. There's so many parallels here. We're going to see this in a new new light that is baffling to me. We're going to see a new Grimm in the tunnels underneath in the caves based on bats. We're going to see how life is like underground, some of the cultural differences of indigenous people to what we've already seen with the high-tech Atlas power. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on this, but I hope you guys are seeing this the way I am seeing this. Because, again, like I said in my other video, if RWBY is going in this direction where they're bringing in conversations about indigenous people, I am going to be so excited because it is definitely something worth talking about. And RWBY has never been afraid to talk about the difficult subjects in ways that younger people, like anyone who's in high school, you can apply this to your history classes and be just fine if you know what Bonish represent, if you know what the Salatas or Manto people are representing. You can really take this into your heart and really like understand the ethics of it all, the morality, which is what's going to be touched upon with RWBY this volume, I think. It's going to be them trying to get into Atlas. We're going to see Weiss with a lot of turmoil, now knowing how she lives on the surface as one of the settlers, one of the higher-ups, the very prosperous, finally meeting the people who first taught how dust worked and the original users. I think we're going to see a huge change. Oh, sorry about that. I think we're going to see a huge difference on how people react to everything that they see, especially when you see that indigenous people have a huge respect for nature. I think we're going to see that a lot this volume, with the people respecting dust and really having an appreciation, almost kind of an understand that it's a blessing to have dust in their life rather than it is a battery to use up and forget about. It is a tool for money. I think that kind of dichotomy, seeing the differences between cultures and how they react to the same dust, is going to be enlightening for all of the characters in RWBY, and also plays in wonderfully to the idea that the Relic of Knowledge houses the voices of people who've died. The afterlife has always been fascinating to me, and especially in different cultures. I believe indigenous peoples do have a very unique vision of how death is portrayed, and it could turn out that this woman can help access the voices of the relic a little bit easier. So it could be interesting to see what she knows about the relic from her own culture. So I am curious what you guys think about this theory. Comment in the comment section down below. Do you think this crazy theory could actually come true? Do you think that this woman is a part of the indigenous people in Mantle, and that she possibly could bring RWBY and Ranger or whatever to underground portions of Salatas to sneak into Atlas, where they're going to run into a Bat Grimm, they're going to learn about the culture and the different people that there are, and have a new respect for dust and lives that are inside of the Relic of Knowledge. I'm just so excited about this. I don't know if you can really tell, guys, but I'm really hoping that this is going to be the case. But that's all I have to say about this theory for now. Please share your comments down below, and I will catch you guys next time. So stay frosty, my friends, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.